Have you ever imagined leaving everything behind and starting a new life based solely on a promise? It sounds crazy, doesn't it? But that's exactly what Abraham did, and his story is more than just an ancient narrative, it's a legacy of faith and transformation that shaped the course of human history. The story of Abraham, the legacy of the father of all nations, isn't just a grand title, it's the key to understanding how trust in God can take us to unimaginable heights. In this video, we'll explore how a simple man, with unwavering faith, faced unimaginable challenges and paved a path that still echoes in our lives today. Get ready to discover how Abraham's journey can inspire your own and change the way you view your life and your promises. At the beginning of Abraham's biblical story, we meet a man named Abram, living in Ur of the Chaldeans, a prosperous city in Mesopotamia. One day, Abram heard a divine voice that made him a surprising offer, to leave his homeland and journey to a new land. Imagine the challenge. He would have to abandon everything he knew and loved to follow an unknown promise. And that's where the real challenge begins. He was about to take a leap of faith that would change not only his life but the course of humanity. The Bible tells us that God made Abram a grand promise. It wasn't just about a new land but a magnificent future for him and his descendants. God promised that Abram would become a great nation and that all the peoples of the earth would be blessed through him. A promise as powerful and far-reaching as this isn't something anyone could easily ignore. It's almost like receiving an invitation to alter the course of history, and Abraham accepted it. Abram, who would later become known as Abraham, lived in a time when social and religious norms were quite different from today's. Ur of the Chaldeans was a center of polytheism, a place where worshipping multiple gods was the norm. The divine call to Abraham was both an awakening and a disruption. For someone who grew up in an environment of many gods, hearing such a singular and radical call surely brought with it a mix of doubts and hopes. At 75 years old, Abraham decided to embark on a journey that many might have considered foolish. He took with him his wife Sarai, his nephew Lot, and all their possessions to an unknown land, Canaan. This decision was not just a change of address, it was a complete change of life. Abraham was about to face the unknown, guided by a divine promise and unwavering faith. In doing so, he teaches us about the courage required to follow divine will. Upon arriving in Canaan, Abraham found a rich land, but it was also inhabited by various Canaanite city-states. This promised land was far from unoccupied, and the trials were just beginning. Instead of a smooth path, Abraham had to navigate a territory that was not only new but also challenging. His initial journey was marked by conflicts and challenges, reflecting the difficulties we often encounter when pursuing something grand in our own lives. Abraham, originally known as Abram, wasn't just a man who followed a divine voice, he was someone who also received a promise that seemed impossible. Born in Ur of the Chaldeans, a prosperous and advanced city in Mesopotamia, Abraham grew up in an environment that didn't align with the ideas of the one true God who spoke to him. His father, Terah, was a man of well-established traditions and customs, and leaving all of that behind was no easy decision. The change that God was asking of him was radical and challenging, and Abraham had to choose between the security of the familiar and the boldness of faith. When Abraham left Ur, he wasn't just a man searching for a new land, he was embarking on a spiritual and personal journey. At 75 years old, he made the decision to follow the divine voice and leave behind a life of comfort and familiarity. His journey wasn't simply a change of residence but a profound transformation of his life and identity. This willingness to make such a radical change, driven by faith, is something many of us can reflect on in our own life journeys. Abraham's journey to Canaan wasn't just a physical crossing but a symbol of his commitment to the divine promise. Canaan was known to be a rich and fertile land, but it was also full of challenges and adversities. Abraham's decision to embark on this journey demonstrated not only his faith but also his determination to face the unknown and trust in God's promises, even in the face of uncertainties. During this journey, Abraham faced difficulties and challenges that were more than just physical obstacles. He had to deal with issues of famine and conflicts with the surrounding cities. These challenges were tests of his faith and perseverance. Each obstacle he overcame not only confirmed his faith but also paved the way for the fulfillment of the divine promise. This aspect of Abraham's story teaches us the importance of maintaining faith and resilience in the face of adversity. The biblical story of Abraham continues to inspire us today because his willingness to follow the divine voice and face challenges is a powerful example of faith and obedience. As we reflect on his journey, we are reminded that life is full of promises and challenges, and our faith and determination are crucial in achieving what has been promised to us. Abraham didn't just follow a promise, he made it a reality through his trust and courage. And as he moved forward, he was only beginning to explore the lasting impact of his obedience. When Abraham arrived in Canaan, he found a rich and promising land, but it was also inhabited by several Canaanite city-states. The presence of these cities wasn't a trivial obstacle, it was a real challenge that Abraham had to confront. Even with the divine promise of a new land, he encountered a complex landscape filled with adversities. The Bible shows us that Abraham didn't settle, instead, he saw each difficulty as an opportunity to reaffirm his faith and commitment to God. Abraham didn't just settle in the promised land, he made a point to leave a meaningful mark. At each place he camped, he built altars to the Lord. These altars were more than just simple structures, they were visible signs of his devotion and gratitude to God. Building altars was a practice of worship and a way to maintain a connection with the divine promise. These gestures remind us of the importance of expressing our gratitude and keeping our spirituality alive in our daily lives. As if external challenges weren't enough, Abraham also faced internal difficulties, such as famine. The fact that he had to deal with a lack of resources in a new land shows that even those who follow divine will are not exempt from hardships. However, the way he handled these situations is a testament to his faith and resilience. In times of crisis, the way we respond can strengthen our faith and bring us closer to the divine purpose. Abraham not only faced difficulties but also had to resolve disputes, like the one that arose with his nephew Lot. The amicable resolution of their land dispute is a lesson in diplomacy and wisdom. Lot chose the fertile Jordan Valley, and Abraham accepted this choice without resentment. This episode illustrates the importance of maintaining peace and generosity, even in situations that could easily lead to conflict. Abraham demonstrated that true leadership often involves sacrifice and understanding. As Abraham navigated these challenges and opportunities, he continued to trust in God's promises. Every step he took, every altar he built, and every challenge he overcame were parts of the unfolding divine plan. Abraham's story is a testament to how faith can transform difficulties into opportunities and how obedience can lead to the fulfillment of great promises. Abraham wasn't just living, he was shaping the future according to God's will. After resolving the dispute with Lot and witnessing his choice of the fertile Jordan Valley, Abraham continued to trust in the divine promise that he would be given the land and numerous descendants. God reaffirmed this promise to Abraham, emphasizing the magnitude and importance of the blessing he would receive. God compared Abraham's descendants to the grains of sand on the shore and the stars in the sky. This commitment from God was more than a guarantee, it was a grand affirmation that Abraham would be the father of a great nation, an eternal legacy. The Bible recounts that Abraham had the opportunity to intercede for Sodom and Gomorrah, cities known for their wickedness. Moved by compassion and faith, Abraham negotiated with God to spare the cities, seeking to save the righteous who might live there. This episode reveals the depth of Abraham's character and his desire to see justice prevail, even when it meant confronting the divine will. Abraham's intercession is an example of how we should care for the well-being of others and act with integrity. The arrival of the angels in Sodom and their visit to Lot were decisive moments. They warned Lot of the city's imminent destruction and rescued him before the devastation occurred. The transformation of Lot's wife into a pillar of salt as a result of her disobedience is a lesson about the importance of following divine instructions and the seriousness of looking back after receiving a clear command. Lot and his family were saved, but the event serves as a reminder of the gravity of following divine guidance and the consequences of failing to do so. Abraham continued his journey, and in Gerar, a new challenge arose. His wife Sarah was taken by King Abimelech, but God intervened and returned her to Abraham unharmed. This episode is an example of how divine protection can be a constant in our lives, even in dangerous situations. Abraham and Sarah were protected by God, and this divine intervention demonstrates the importance of trusting in God's protection during difficult times. Finally, God fulfilled his promise to Sarah, and she gave birth to Isaac in her old age. This event brought great joy and laughter to Abraham and Sarah, who had waited many years for a child. The birth of Isaac was not only the fulfillment of a promise but also a reaffirmation of divine faithfulness. The joy of Abraham and Sarah is a testament to the power of patience and trust in God's promises. The story of Abraham and Sarah continues to inspire many to believe in the power of divine promises, even when circumstances seem challenging. Abraham's life continued to present challenges and profound lessons. When a conflict arose between Sarah and Hagar, the situation became tense. Sarah, unable to have children for a time, gave her servant Hagar to Abraham to bear an heir. When Hagar gave birth to Ishmael, the family dynamic became complicated. Sarah and Hagar clashed, leading to the expulsion of Hagar and Ishmael. Despite the difficulties, God made a promise to Abraham, assuring him that Ishmael would also be blessed. This episode reveals the complexity of human relationships and how faith must be maintained even amid personal tribulations. In his journey of faith and obedience, Abraham faced a decisive test when God commanded him to sacrifice his son Isaac on Mount Moriah. This command was one of the most challenging moments of Abraham's life. God's order was not just a test of faith but an opportunity for Abraham to demonstrate his loyalty. At the last moment, God intervened and provided a ram for the sacrifice, sparing Isaac. This event underscores the importance of unwavering faith and the willingness to obey God even when his commands seem impossible to fulfill. The death of Sarah at 127 years old brought another challenge for Abraham. He needed to secure a proper burial site and purchased a plot of land from Ephron the Hittite in Hebron. The purchase of the cave of Machpelah was an act of respect and devotion, marking the place where Sarah would be laid to rest. This moment highlights the importance of honoring our loved ones and taking practical steps to ensure their final wishes are fulfilled. The way Abraham handled Sarah's death reflects the importance of maintaining dignity and respect even in moments of sorrow. After Sarah's death, Abraham did not withdraw from life, on the contrary, he continued to expand his family. He remarried Keturah and had 6 more children. Although Abraham ensured that Isaac would inherit all his possessions, his new union and children demonstrated that life continued and that God's blessing extended beyond his first descendants. The continuation of Abraham's life and his ability to move forward after loss is a testament to resilience and faith in action. Abraham lived to be 175 years old and died as a man of great faith and legacy. He was buried alongside Sarah in the cave of Machpelah, fulfilling his wish to be laid to rest next to his beloved wife. His legacy, built on a solid foundation of faith and obedience, left a lasting mark on history. Abraham's life exemplifies how a life lived with faith and commitment can influence generations and leave a lasting impact. His story continues to inspire all who seek to understand the power of faith and obedience. As we reflect on the story of Abraham, we are confronted with a powerful call to live with faith and determination. He shows us that even in the face of the greatest adversities, trust in a promise can transform our lives in unimaginable ways. So, what will you do with the knowledge and inspiration you've just received? Are you ready to take the next step in your own journey of faith? Share your thoughts and stories with us in the comments. Which aspect of Abraham's life resonated with you the most? How can you apply these principles to your own life? Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to keep receiving content that can make a real difference in your life. Together, we can learn to live with the same faith and courage as Abraham, exploring divine promises and transforming our lives.